Located in the centre of one of the most active economic zones in the world, Port of Calais is the leading port in France and the second largest passenger port in the world. With continued growth in passenger traffic between Calais and Dover, more than 10 million people in 2013, representing 100 ship movements a day, and a volume of freight that has tripled in 20 years, Port of Calais' capacity has now been stretched to the limit. Its infrastructures no longer allow the port to ensure the quality of service and safety equivalent to those of Dover, especially for the next generation of ferries over 200 meters long, whose maneuvers require large swinging areas. For these reasons, the Nord-Pas-de-Calais Regional Council has undertaken the Calais Port 2015 project. This will adapt the existing port infrastructure and equipment to new circumstances of shipping traffic in the Strait. The project is part of a new public service delegation contract to operate the ports of Boulogne-sur-Mer and Calais. Total cost €900 million, including €650 million of civil engineering work, to be financed by investment from the concession holder of €630 million and by a state subsidy of €270 million. Calais Port 2015 involves the construction of a seawall over 3 kilometers long, with 3 new berths for ferries and an extended berth for ro-ro traffic. The project also includes the entire infrastructure required to host cross-channel traffic, with 160 acres of platforms and access roads, as well as buildings needed to safely welcome and manage port customers. The design of the new port incorporates constraints linked to climate change. The seawall is scaled to resist a 100-year wave and will protect the port facilities from effects of rising sea levels forecast for 2100. Its construction will require 6.2 million tons of material derived primarily from local quarries. This eco-design project fully meets preservation commitments made by the Nord-Pas-de-Calais Regional Council during a public inquiry and the National Council for the Protection of Nature. In particular, it includes the establishment of quiet areas and nesting boxes for birds, as well as an observatory for ornithological surveys. Artificial habitats and nurseries for marine life will also be placed along the seawall and inside the port to enrich the biodiversity of the Calais coastline. Specific measures will limit noise and light pollution during construction, and work scheduling will avoid interventions liable to disturb fauna during reproduction or migration periods. To preserve the marine environment, dredgers will be equipped with systems enabling continuous monitoring of the quality of the extracted material. The 4 million cubic meters of material dredged from the new harbour basin will be reused to build quayage in a perfect balance of cuts and fills. Landscaping of the site reflects the aim to integrate the new port in the best way possible with the landscape of the Opal coast. It involves a large number of tree and shrub plantations, all of local species, to mark out the parking areas. An elevated north-south main road bordered by a lake forms the mainstay of the landscape. On the seaside, the layout smoothly integrates the extension of a hoverport dune. In order to minimize energy consumption of the port during its operation, all of the buildings will meet high environmental quality criteria. The main buildings will have triple glazing and their own source of wind power in order to obtain positive energy building certification. Production of heat and cold by a central heat pump using seawater will supply the whole of the port with electricity. Calais Port 2015 will provide the region with a port infrastructure equal to its ambitions in terms of features and service quality. Berths will be equipped with floating double-deck link spans chosen for their high loading-unloading capacity and simplicity of maintenance. Easily identifiable buildings with clear signage will mark out walkways for travellers in the new port area and will accommodate passengers and port staff in bright, user-friendly spaces. New port access roads will meet port safety and security criteria while maintaining existing urban ties. Calais Port 2015 is a superb opportunity for the economic development of Calais and the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region as a whole. As of 2015, work on the project will create more than 2,000 jobs and contribute to an ambitious community development policy. More than 7% of work hours will be allocated to people on return-to-work programs, and some 65 million euros in contracts will be awarded to SMEs. The port's existing facilities will be used to load the 500,000 tons of construction material onto workboats. Finally, by 2030, operation of the new infrastructure will lead to the creation of more than 1,700 new permanent jobs. Development of the Port of Calais, of which the Calais Port 2015 project is the first step, is a structuring project for the entire region that will span several decades. Subsequent phases of the planning process will allow the configuration of the port to be adapted over the years to changes in traffic and needs of shipping companies. With its economic, environmental and social impact, Calais Port 2015 will be a major milestone in the progress of the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region towards its third industrial revolution.